Hello everyone. This is my first video about what I think the SPY and QQQ is going to do in the very near future. And basically, my reasoning based on what I think the SPY and QQQ are going to do tomorrow, as in actually today in 4 hours from now, from the time of this recording, um, is that I think there are two things you need to consider. Actually, three things. But here's the first one. The SPY. I'm gonna move it to the weekly. The SPY is showing something very strange on the weekly chart. The so basically so basically what you see here is this. It's going up a lot. Look at that. This is 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. It went up a lot. Look at how much it went up. But look at the volume. It is super, super, super low. Almost like this move right here. So like, look at how this went up, 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 and look at the volume. It kept going really, really low. And what happened then? It immediately crashed down. So I think what's going to happen is because the volume keeps the price keeps going up and the volume keeps staying so low, is that I think what's going to happen is there's definitely some merit to thinking that it will crash down just like it crashed down here. Maybe it won't go that low, but I think it might go like this. Like at least there's a threat of this possibility that the market could do this. And the reason why when it goes up and the volume remains low, and that threatens this, is that when it does this and the volume stays like this, what it means is that every week buyers are going lower and lower. The buyers are decreasing, and the price keeps going up. So what happens when the price keeps going up and the buyers decrease? That means that, well, first of all, it means that the whole upward move is very optimistic. It's so optimistic that it keeps sucking in buyers. But since the buyers keep going lower and lower, that means that soon, when the buyers stop or a big move like this happens, the buyers which are already low will stop completely, and then the sellers which are being inhibited by this upward move, because it's very optimistic, sellers will not sell as long as it keeps going up. So when the buyers stop buying, because as it goes lower and lower, eventually the buyers stop buying altogether, and the sellers come back in, and we might see something like this with higher volume. That's not good drawing. You might see the volume go like here, something like that, just like this one right here. So if that happens, the sellers are increasing by a lot, and it will overpower the already low amount of buyers that are trying to suck it in, but they can't get in anymore. There's just no more of them. And if the sellers maintain a high level, we might see a downward move because of this. But that's if that was the only thing that we see, the only strange thing that I see coming into tomorrow, I would just say, well, let's short the market tomorrow. But that is not the only thing that I see that is coming into tomorrow. What the next thing I need to show is this. The 1 day chart of the SPY. Okay, here's a 1-day chart. This was 2 months ago. This is a month ago, and right now we're here. And this was yesterday. And so basically, this candle right here is very in the lingo of VPA, volume price analysis. This candle is very anomalous because it's a massive spread down candle, almost as big as this, but the volume is really low. I mean, it's incredibly low for a big move down like this. And what this means is that there are a lot of reserve buyers about to come in tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. And the reason there are reserve buyers is because when a big downward move candle goes down like this on low volume, it means that what's happening is it's going down on a vacuum. The buyers who are supposed to buy here, here, and here, all those buyers are just they're inhibited. They're just holding onto their money and they're not buying. And that's what's causing the downward move on low volume. The sellers are just staying pretty normal, and the buyers are just getting out of the way. It's like a vacuum. And what happens in vacuums is that eventually the buyers come back in. Eventually. And that adds additional buying pressure. So there's something else I need to add to. If you can look at this candle right here and this candle right here, look at how much volume this candle had. It was all the way over here. And look at how much volume this candle had. It was over here. It's much lower than this volume. It's a little bit lower. And look at what happened here on this volume, on this candle. It was super low, which means that there was buying pressure, reserve buying pressure, and eventually the market went up. Same thing here is even lower volume, which means there's even more buying pressure, and the market looks like it should at least do this. That's what I think. But the difference between this situation and this situation, aside from the fact that there's slightly lower volume, is that there was a big anomaly right here, and that created a lot of buying pressure because this was a stopping candle, and what happened was that there was all these buyers coming in this candle, and buyers kept pressing, and eventually every time someone sold, more buyers came in, and the people who sold got a lot of money, and they became future buyers, and that's why the high volume right here, which is also an anomaly compared to the anomaly here and anomaly here, it generated additional upward move, which helped this market go up. This time, at this time, there's not much of the help that we had right here. Instead, what we have is on the weekly, we actually have, because of the anomaly right here, the anomaly right here on the weekly, we actually have downward move pressure on this time. Same, you can kind of see this on the daily too. Like we're we're kind of doing the same thing right here, and we're gonna have a low volume, and we're still doing the same thing right here, low volume. So on the weekly, on the daily, because of all this, we actually have downward pressure. But because this candlestick, this candlestick right here has really low volume, we actually have upward pressure. So what I think is going to happen tomorrow is that there's several. What I think is going to happen tomorrow is that holy crap! What did I just do? So what I think is going to happen tomorrow is we're going to do a lot of chop. Like that. I don't know for sure how much chop we're going to get. We might do this and then chop around like that. Or we may just, from the open, just chop. Because there's upward pressure from the week, upward pressure from yesterday's volume candlestick on the daily, and on the weekly there's downward pressure. So we might get some chop, but I think what's going to happen is that the downward pressure is going to, at the end of the day, around maybe 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, we might continue downward. So what I forgot to mention one more thing. The put-call ratio kind of confirms the downward move. The put-call ratio is the 10-day single moving average of the put-call ratio is 0.72, and that's not as low as it was here. This is a SPY, by the way. This pink thing is a SPY, and the put-call ratio is 0.72. But remember, look at what happened here when the put-call ratio was 0.62. There was a big downward move in the SPY. But so the idea that the put-call ratio is 0.72 is not as bad here, but it's still pretty bad for this 10-day single moving average of the put-call ratio. And that means a lot of longs have been longing the market. They have long positions, and there's just not that many sellers. I mean, there's not that many buyers left when it's this low, but not as this low. Well, when it's 0.72, it's still pretty low. So that gives me the idea that there's a lot of downward pressure, and so that confirms the whole weekly thing. That confirms the weekly chart, which is that a lot of buyers are stored up. I mean, a lot of sellers are stored up because of the low volume and upward move, and that there's going to be selling. There's going to be selling like this. What is it else I want to say? So I'm not going to be trading tomorrow because I'm going to oversleep. But if I was trading tomorrow, what I would look for is I would look for some type of downward move. I would look for some type of downward move and then I want to look for some type of a no of high spread bar on the SPY, and I would, if the volume is incredibly low, then I would know that what's happening is that there's a lot of reserve buyers who are gone out of the way and they're about to come back in, and then I would buy that I buy around here. And if this whole thing was a downward bar, very big downward bar, and the volume is low, I would buy at the end of the bar, and I would try to scalp it for the way on the way up. That's what I would do. And also, there's something else I forgot to say. The QQQ is even also confirms this whole idea that there's an upward move tomorrow. And the reason being is that look at what happened here and here. This was a pretty high volume. Yet it was it stop. Is this what I call stopping volume? What does this? It means that there's a lot of buyers coming in to keep it from falling lower. And every time someone sells, the money is given to the seller who can become future buyers. So that generates a lot of upward power. That gives me the idea that the market has the power to do this. But look at what today happened. What happened today? It went down a lot, so much. Look at how much it went down. But on just slightly a higher volume than compared to this and this 3 days ago and 2 days ago. What that means is that there's even more reserve buyers ready to come in. And that there's even more reserve buyers ready to do this. So that combined with what we see here combined with what we see on the SPY here lends me the idea that there's going to be at least some type of upward move tomorrow. But the idea that we see what's happening with the put-call ratio and what's happening on the weekly of the SPY gives me the idea that it's going to be downward pressure. Maybe even more than this. Maybe even less. But I definitely know for sure that tomorrow there's going to be some type of thrust upward. And you can what you should do is you should buy the dip when it looks really, really bad and hope for a big thrust upward. And then sell at the end of the thrust. So that's my idea. If I was trading tomorrow, I would do that, but I'm not trading tomorrow because I'm going to oversleep. Okay, bye. How do I do this?